I don't really have any resources to do that right now. The account where I have to give to community members. No, we don't help with formula at all. Have you talked to anybody like at CCC?
Yeah, I've been calling everywhere all day.
Oh, okay. We are a small church, and as a result, we have limited funds, and so we tend to help those that are part of the church or come to the church.
The lady that's calling the churches to see if they will give formula to her starving baby. Of course they're not going to give formula to a starving baby. We've been telling y'all this for decades, and I'm so sick of seeing it spin around all over the internet that, oh my God, she's calling and now we're just not seeing it. It's 2025! We have poor people on the streets! If the churches worked, there would be no hungry or poor people on the streets! God damn! That's the fucking point! Christ is not in the church! Jesus is not in the church! He has never been in the church!
Before we even get into the reactions and the chaos that followed, let's start with what actually happened. Now, a white woman decided to run a very simple experiment. She wanted to test whether American churches actually practice what they preach. The caring for your neighbor, helping the needy, feeding the hungry, So she picked up her phone and started calling churches across the United States. Not to ask for money, not to ask for rent assistance. She wasn't asking for anything complicated. She pretended to be a mother with a newborn who had no baby formula. And she said she was desperate. She said her child was hungry. She said she had nowhere else to turn to. And you would expect churches, the same institutions that preach compassion every Sunday, to step up immediately, right? Well, that's not what happened. So she called dozens of churches, big churches, small churches, mega churches, even local community churches. And what she got back was excuse after excuse. Like, that's not our procedure. We only help members. We don't handle formula requests and call a shelter, call social services, things like that. And some even try to redirect her to government programs instead of offering help themselves, even though the need was urgent. A hungry newborn cannot wait days or weeks, even long hours. And out of dozens of calls, only a small handful actually offered assistance. And here's where the irony becomes so loud and you can't ignore it. She eventually called an Islamic mosque, just one, and they didn't ask her for membership. They didn't ask her to fill out a form, and they didn't send her on a wild goose chase. Her response was simple. Where are you? Come and get the formula. And at that moment exposed something deeper.
This lady called 20 churches and told these churches that she has a starving baby that hasn't eaten in a whole day. And maybe 17 churches out of those 20 churches told her that's not their problem. She needs to go find food for her baby somewhere else. Mind you, 2 black churches and 1 mosque was the only churches and mosques that said, you know what, we'll help you. You ain't hear what I said, right? It's a woman on this app that's testing these churches in Kentucky that y'all going to. It's around the holiday seasons. A lot of people is donating money to churches, but our church is helping those people out. And apparently that answer is no. Mind you, if you jump down that rabbit hole and you look at those videos, in the background while she's calling these people, she's having a baby noise that's screaming, crying. So these people really think that this baby is hungry, and they are not feeding this baby. They are not, and they're not trying to help this lady at all. Only 3 of those churches say, come on in, we'll help you. 2 African American churches and 1 mosque. That says a lot. Mind you, these churches be getting a lot of money. These churches take tithes every month. These churches take donations every Sunday, maybe more. And when somebody calls for help, they're not helping.
Call my church, please. Call my church, because I need to know. As someone who attends church regularly and we tithe, I need to see what their response is going to be.
For my sister to call over 40 churches and them not give her any milk, and they were being rude. They were being so rude. Every single mosque that she called answered. Every single mosque that she called were kind. Every single mosque that she called were even nice to her after she said she's not Muslim.
as a Christian community, me as a Christian, I am embarrassed.
As you know, churches preach that they are the hand and feet of compassion. But when compassion was tested, when it was time to help a baby, most of them failed the test. And this is where the story gets even more unbelievable, because the reaction from some pastors was worse than the refusal themselves.
Christians and churches are responding after a woman went viral for calling churches asking for baby formula for her starving baby, and most of them turned her down. And what some of them are saying is absolutely wild. One church said what that woman is doing is evil and even compared it to witchcraft. He said this woman is a liar. She is indulging in trickery. She has the spirit of a witch, and if she comes near our church, she will be dealt with swiftly. This church, who also turned her down over the phone, said if a mother in need was at the doors of our church, raise your hand if you would help her. And when a majority of the people raised their hands, he said that's the only social experiment that I need. And this pastor of another church who also turned her down said that we are not obligated to help in a situation like this, and the only reason the mosque did is because they're obligated to by their faith. He said they get hundreds of scam calls and people wanting money, and they can't prove that she's actually in need.
And I'll say it because y'all can't fight me. Jesus did not like these church folk. And I love when history repeats itself, because this whole will the church buy baby formula, drama, social experiment, whatever, it ain't nothing that the Bible hasn't already touched on. The Bible said Jesus walked into the temple, saw a whole bunch of looting and scheming. So what did he do? Because y'all be forgetting that Jesus was a G. Right? He flipped over the table where they had their money, flipped over the seats that they were selling from, and said that, for it is written, my house shall be a house of prayer, but you have turned it into a den of thieves. He basically said to them, y'all ain't nothing but some no good, dirty scammers. And think about it. Who was Jesus hanging out with? Jesus was hanging out with the sinners and untouchables of society. Because Jesus knew that there was more humanity in those individuals than the people who claim the moral superiority of being spiritual leaders. But this is the same church that traded Jesus for a violent murderer, the same church that crucified Christ, the same church that will have a suffering congregation tithing to a multi-millionaire pastor, and the same church that couldn't be bothered to feed a hungry baby. Tax the churches. Tax the churches. It's time.
After her videos went viral and people started asking real questions about why churches refuse to help a hungry baby, you would think the response from pastors would be reflection or maybe an apology. But instead, some pastors did something shocking. One well-known pastor, a full-grown man leading a major church, stood in front of his congregation and said that that lady had the spirit of a witch. Not we should have helped, not let's do better, not even we made a mistake. No, he attacked her character. He spiritualized it. He blamed her for exposing the truth, and he called her experiment a dirty deed. He said he would not apologize and that he would not repent because he believed she was sent by something evil. Imagine that. A pastor, a leader, calling a woman a witch simply because she showed the world how hard it is for a desperate mother to get help from institutions that claim to love their neighbors. And honestly, that reaction told us more than the experiment itself. And instead of addressing the lack of compassion, instead of acknowledging how many churches turned away a mother with a starving newborn, instead of using this moment to actually improve their outreach, some leaders doubled down. They attacked, they deflected, they spiritualized responsibility. And this is why so many people feel like there is a gap, a wide, painful gap between the message preached on Sunday and the actions taken during the week. As you know, a baby in need should not have to pass a membership test. A crying mother shouldn't be asked to fill out paperwork. A hungry newborn shouldn't have to wait for church bureaucracy. This experiment wasn't just about embarrassing anyone. But here's the bigger question for all of us watching. If a baby needed help today, like right now, would your local church step up? Or would they send you to a hotline or a form or a voicemail? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and as always, thank you for watching. Stay informed, stay aware, and stay compassionate. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more trending videos just like this. My name is Amy, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.